Welcome to TKT course by Teacher Teresa, Module 1, Part 1, Describing Language and Language Skills, Unit 5, Reading. Reading Subskills. Reading Subskills. Reading requires using different reading skills, such as reading for specific information, scanning, reading for gist, skimming, reading for detail, inferring, deducing meaning from context, predicting, understanding text structure. These are known as reading skills or reading subskills. We use different reading subskills depending on our reading goal. We don't always have to read every detail. The way we read is influenced by the content and our purpose of reading. For example, we might quickly look through a music playlist to find our favorite song. However, when dealing with an important business agreement, we carefully read the contract in detail to understand all its terms and conditions. Therefore, our reading purpose determines the specific reading subskill we apply. Reading for specific information, scanning. When we read to find a certain piece of information, we often use a subskill called scanning. With scanning, we quickly look through a text until we find what we're looking for, like searching for a name in a list or finding a word in a dictionary. Reading for gist, skimming. Another subskill is skimming or reading for gist. This is also called reading for global understanding. It means quickly looking through a text to understand its general idea. For instance, we skim when we briefly look over a textbook to catch its main concepts, or when we quickly go through a newspaper to get updates on local events. Reading for detail. Reading for detail is another subskill. It means understanding each word and how they connect between them and within sentences. For example, when we read a guidebook to learn how to operate a device, we use this subskill. In some books on English language teaching, this is called intensive reading, though not in the TKT. Inferring. Inferring is a skill readers use to understand what a writer thinks or feels about a subject. By looking at the words, register, tone, or style the writer uses, readers figure out the writer's viewpoint or emotions. Check the following example sentences to notice how writers have different views. The city park buzzes with laughter and games. Families gather, and the sun shines through the trees. It's a place of joy and connection. The city park feels crowded, with litter scattered about. Trees look tired amidst the noise. It has lost its charm. Deducing meaning from context. Deducing meaning from context means trying to understand the meaning of an unknown word by looking at the words around it, or thinking about the situation it is used in. For instance, in the sentence, the artist used a palette to mix colors. We can figure out that palette refers to a flat board or tray where artists mix colors. Similarly, when reading, the athlete laced up his cleats before the game. We can deduce that cleats are shoes with grips designed for sports such as soccer or baseball. Using this skill, even if we don't know every word, we can get its meaning without using a dictionary. Predicting. Prediction involves using hints or clues before we read a text, to guess what it is about. For instance, by looking at the subject line and sender's name in an email, newspaper's headlines or images, chapter titles, an author's name, magazine cover, or menu title, we can make informed guesses about what the content might cover. Prediction helps us decide whether we're interested in reading further or not. For instance, if an email subject suggests it's an advertisement or promotional message, we might not want to open it immediately. Moreover, predicting helps us understand the text when we read it, because it connects the text to our existing knowledge. As we move through the text, we keep guessing about what might come next, based on what we've already read. Understanding text structure. Understanding text structure means knowing how different types of text usually flow. For instance, in a recipe, we expect to see a list of ingredients first, followed by step-by-step instructions, and finally, additional tips for better results. Similarly, if we are reading a persuasive essay, we might anticipate an interesting introduction first, followed by reasons for a viewpoint, evidence that support these reasons, a section addressing opposing views, and finally, a conclusion, which serves as a concise summary, restating the main points. Readers apply these patterns to follow along the text. Also, recognizing conjunctions like therefore or however helps readers understand how ideas progress or change in the text's direction. Good readers can recognize various types of texts, such as diaries, advertisements, pamphlets, manuals, reviews, emails, blogs, essays, and reports. Each text type is unique, differing in length, page layout, how it's arranged on the page, content, and language used. Extensive and intensive reading are different ways of reading. Extensive reading, often known as reading for enjoyment, involves genres like comic books, stories, and novels. As we go through, our interest and concentration change. We might read some parts in detail, while skimming over others, using different reading subskills. On the other hand, in language classes, we often ask learners to read texts to focus on the language used. For instance, we might ask them to find specific words related to a topic, or figure out the grammar of a sentence. The purpose is to help learners understand how language works. This type of reading is called intensive reading. It's not about understanding the text, but studying the language itself. In some English teaching books, but not in the TKT, this skill is referred to as reading for detail. Reading is complex. It requires understanding letters, words, sentences, connecting ideas, recognizing text types, interpreting based on our knowledge, and applying specific reading subskills. Although reading is a receptive skill, it's certainly not a passive activity. Thank you.